Hello lovelies, I'm the Fragnostic. It's Monday, and that can only mean, as sure as the sun sets in the west, the bird plucketh worm from the ground, and some bastard from a call centre in Peril will try and sign you up to a new 12-year phone contract the second you sat down to have your dinner. Then it's time for another Retro Rumble! We've beaten down the original Castlevania, slapped the fangs out of Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, and driven a stake through the heart and up the pernicious arse of the arcade-exclusive Haunted Castle. But now, our greatest challenge of the Castlevania franchise so far is upon us. Beholden! The plot. During 15th century Europe, there lived a person named Dracula. He practiced sorcery in order to create a bad world filled with evil. He began taking over the continent of Europe, changing countries from good to bad. The good people of Europe tried to fight off Dracula, but no one was able to survive. Finally, the Belmont family was summoned to battle Dracula's vile forces. The Belmont family has a long history of fighting evil. The townspeople became afraid of the Belmont's superhuman power and asked them to leave the country. Fortunately, the people found a mighty Belmont called Trevor. The curse of Dracula has begun. The fate of Europe lies with Trevor. Awesome. I think it's kind of endearing that Dracula's only interested in taking over Europe. After encountering so many villains that are clearly overstretching their resources and aiming for total world conquest, here comes a guy who knows his fucking limits, you know? Now, I know what you're thinking here, lovelies. The fuck is this neon shit yelling at me in Russian? Alright, let's sit down. Come on, calm down, put your jacket back on. Don't want to get chucked out, do we? It's quid for a pint night. No, that's Japanese, my vicious-tempered friend, and the reason for that is that we are playing the Japanese version of Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse. Why? 2 words. Stone tits. Look to the left and right at this name screen at those statuesque pillars, ladies and gentlemen. Can you see what might be vaguely considered to resemble boobs? If you squint and sort of... yeah? Well, in the international version of this game, they're all covered up with dumb clothes. It's an utter fucking disgrace. It takes the game from a 10 out of 10 experience down to a censored piece of puritanical shame poo that I wouldn't play if you got Elizabeth Olsen to come around here and take my library books back for me. That'd be better than sex right now. I really can't be asked to take those fucking books back. It also removes the shining rays from the cross in that beginning scene for some reason, which is really bizarre, actually. Leaves the cross alone, which you would have thought they'd have scrubbed by way of Nintendo of America's whole nix-on religious imagery at the time. The cross is still there. They just didn't want it to have sparkling rays coming out of it. I mean, to be fair though, they don't really look like rays. They look a lot more like a half dozen spikes coming out of each side of the bloody thing. Like some sick Roman fuck came up with an even more spectacular way of murdering Jesus Christ. Honestly though, I usually play this version for one main reason, and that is the absolutely banging soundtrack. You hear that sweet bass track thumping away in there? Sounds very thin and reedy in the international releases of Castlevania 3. And the reason for that is that the Japanese version used Konami's superb VRC6 chip, which supported 3 more sound channels in the game than Nintendo's MMC5 chip that the European and US versions were saddled with, giving the music a much fuller and lusher orchestration. No crappy inferior Castlevania soundtrack for my viewers, no sir. Of course, the trade-off here would normally be that we'd have to suffer any dialogue or text in Japanese, which, pardon the rather mannerless assumption here, lovelies, I'm guessing none of you can read. I can. I just don't want to. But thanks to the marvels of modern technology, there does exist such a thing as a translation patch, which I've handily slapped over the game's nonsense-spewing mouth, leaving us with all the combined greatness of the original Castlevania 3 and the English language. Darkest wizardry. Surely the gods will punish us for this. Surely our heresy cannot be tolerated much longer. But let's put aside our fear of inescapable revenge plagues sweeping through our lands for just a short while, and see what new tricks Castlevania 3 has to offer us. Now, the most obvious change you can see from the last direct prequel, Simon's Quest, is that the RPG/platforming hybrid approach has been banished to the dark places, never to truly appear again until Symphony of the Night, nearly a decade after this one, which in a lot of ways is a shame because as frustrating and pitifully underdeveloped in places as Simon's Quest turned out to be, It was truly ambitious for its time. It had a lot of great ideas, even if it didn't have the means to pull them off. Like when you're watching an episode of a kind of lower budget TV show, let's say Doctor Who for example, and something storyline awesome happens, the effects just aren't there to back it up on screen. You're just kind of cringing at this awkward looking CGI monster or explosion like, oh God, I want so much to love you, but you're so intangibly ugly. That's Simon's Quest for me. Oh wow, Dracula, I really like your character design, but God almighty, I've managed to murder you in 5 seconds flat by eating a magic invincibility plant and whipping you in the dick. Oh, I can't do this, I have a wife. So Konami took a dump on any new concepts introduced in that one, and opted instead to go back to the first game straight, no-nonsense platforming whip-a-thon, with proper levels and proper bosses, and a distinct lack of lying bastard townspeople. Another great hallmark of the series carries forward here, with bosses that are pitifully easy to murder with sub-weapons. So close, Skelly Cow. Almost lived to proudly moo about the Belmont that you slew. You came so close, but alas, you never. Now you are dead, and I'm still Trevor. So while the base mechanics of the game are largely untouched from the first Castlevania, there are a couple of major new innovations here, the first of which is an addictively deep multiple path system. Now our first choice of the adventure is coming up right now, and we're going to opt to take the upper path to the Clock Tower of Untimely Death. Actual legitimate stage title for you there, as Castlevania 3 has also started properly naming its levels by this point. I mean, you'd think if you were going to have a timely death anywhere, it would be a clock tower, but then that's a mediocre joke at best, and Castlevania has no sense of humour, turning to the window, wishing you'd just stop talking to it on the boss. Now this stage is actually quite unique. I mean, not to the series of course, the clock tower location shows up in nearly every damn game in the franchise, but in terms of the route mapping, this is the only level that is completely optional. If we chose the lower path back at the split, we'd wander straight onto stage 3 with no alternate level offered for stage 2, because that's really the way it works here. And in total, Castlevania 3 has 14 different stages, but the most you'll ever be able to play through in a single game is 10, with a minimum of 9 if you choose to skip the clock tower. So, why the bugger would you ever bother coming to stage 2 if you didn't need to? Well, I'm glad you asked, lovelies. Not as glad as I'd be if you'd stop fucking interrupting me, but I'm happy that you're interested at least. Because another brand new feature of the game is the chance to acquire side characters to bring along on your quest with you. And the first of them is only available in this very stage. There are 3 in total, Grant, Sypha and Alucard, dotted around the landscape, but again, thanks to the wacky multiple path system, it's only ever possible to run into 2 of them in one playthrough. Now, Grant's at the top of this wretched tower, so you can always have him if you want him, but the choice comes down to Sypha or Alucard for the second slot. Now I'll show you our new supernatural buddies properly as we come across them, and then you can decide for yourself who your dream team would be. But I must warn you that the only correct answer is Sypha, and you will appear foolish disagreeing with me. Now, with respect to the sheer amount of in-game content we'd miss with just a single run of Dracula's Curse, I have decided to do you a solid and make this Retro Rumble a 2-parter. You might have already noticed the part 1 that adorns the title of this particular video, and scoff to yourself, "Ha! Doth Fraggers grow so old, so dusty, that he no longer possesses the endurance for a single NES game?" Lovelies, sometimes I'd rather die than get out of bed in the mornings. But that's besides the point. I've opted to go for another supercut format here, which means, surprise surprise, that I'm commentating this one after the fact. Seem to be doing a lot of that lately, don't I? But such is the tangled nature, the intertwining paths in this game, that any attempt at live commentary would turn this into a shit-hot mess, as I'm essentially stringing together 4 or at least large chunks of 4 separate playthroughs of this one for you. And I don't know if you've ever tried to commentate 4 playthroughs of anything at once with any kind of narrative continuity in mind, but it's a lot like trying to tie 4 sets of shoelaces with your dick, and also you are 3 of the shoes, so believe me, this works out best for everybody. I won't even rob you of another Retro Rumble because of it. How about that? You get the second part of this on Thursday, and we will move on to something new and wonderful this time next week. You don't know you're born, I tell you. So, in this episode, I'm going to take you along a scenic stroll, informally referred to as the Overground route. It's widely regarded to be the easiest path you can take to Dracula's castle, because once you hit stage 8, all the multiple paths have converged and the final 3 levels are the same for everybody. Now I'll take you up to the end of stage 6 tonight, and then we'll finish up on Thursday with all the extra bits and pieces of the harder underground routes before we go marching into the castle to give Dracula a damn good hiding. Anyway, here comes Grant, and make sure you got yourself some holy water and then just drown the hunchback little bastard in it before he can make a break for the ceiling. Get down from there, shitbag! There. You don't want to let him climb up that wall. You'd be fighting him for fucking ever. And now you've knocked some bloody sense into him, you get the chance to recruit him after listening to his sob story. Get your tissues ready. Here we go. My name is Grant. I dreamed I was turned into a ghost. Please take me with you. My family was killed by Dracula. So what will you do? You take him with you or leave him behind? You'll do, I guess. I can help you a lot because I'm very fast. Sweet, whatever. And there's the most awkward handshake you'll find outside of dinner with Ted Cruz. Saved by the collapsing ceiling, thank God. Thank God Grant's very fast. Could have been killed for fuck's sake. I don't know what Grant thinks we're doing. Very fast traditionally wins your races or loses your sexual partners. Doesn't really beat vampires. But in truth, Grant's hiding a far more impressive ability from us, as you're about to see when I transform into him right here. Check this shit out. Whoa, you creepy little scuttle bastard. That's right, Grant can scale walls and ceilings with the ability to drop off at any point with a controlled fall, which nobody else in the game gets, as well as having a throwing dagger for a weapon that sets you back precisely no hearts. It'll take a little bit more of a heavy beating than Trevor does if he gets hit, but god damn it, who the fuck is going to get anywhere near him? Also, yes, Konami are making us walk back out of the fucking clock tower. That, my friends, is bullshit. It doesn't take long with Grant making a goddamn suicide diving mockery of the map design, but still. And I mean, this is why you're going to see me doing a mostly Trevor-orientated playthrough here, like I usually do. I mean, I'll give you a level's worth of each of the companion characters to show you what they're capable of, but each one of them is so ridiculously overpowered that it just breaks the bloody game. I mean, Trevor's only real advantage over this guy is that he can use the holy water. That's pretty much it. And you can see by his jealous portrait in the top right of the screen that he knows it. Why would you ever want to play as Trevor again after you've got Grant? What's holy water to a knife-throwing attack cockroach? I guess Grant's only real weakness in the game is that he can be a pain in the ass to control. He's got a tendency to latch onto walls that you don't want him to, and make him freak out and plunge to his death in a pit. But aside from that, and he's not even the best one. You wait until we catch up with Sypha. That bitch is a walking death engine. Here we go then. Went in a man, came out an acrobat, I think they call him in the manual. Or a pirate. A piracrobat! Deadliest shit in the sea. Alright, I'm going to kick us back to just before we took the split in the road to the clock tower here. And we're going to take the lower path. Because while both routes will eventually lead you to stage 3, the Mad Forest, you'll only get to see the very first part of it if you ignore the clock tower completely. Don't worry, lovelies, there's nothing that mad about the Mad Forest. I mean, I came in here expecting the world to just fucking implode with lunacy. I thought I'd be fighting marzipan clown monkeys and giant sentient arts and crafts sets, but I don't know, I guess people were more forgiving in their definition of lunacy back here in the old days. Those useless fucking ghosts are back. 2 guesses how he died. Too slow through them spike crushers, weren't you, son? Thought you'd come on down to the Mad Forest to pick some of them there delirium baubles! Or apples, as we call them in this day and age. That's it, really. There's some stairs at the end of this screen, then you get the crossover into the starting point if you're coming from stage 2. Here we go. And you see, you come up the stairs here, and if I switch playthroughs now, you just spawn at the top of them. No idea they were ever there. Right, you see them glowing eyes? They ain't just background clutter. Even though there is a very attractive range of background clutter in Castlevania 3. You can really see the leap they've made in the environments here, so I guess if Haunted Castle spurred anything good along influence-wise, it was that. But these are owls. Dracula went out, looked upon his army, his skeletons, his gorgons, fishmen, Death himself, the Grim fucking Reaper. And he said to himself, you know what this army's missing? Owls. I need to get me some owls. And to be fair to him, he's a man with vision if nothing else, because those owls are incredibly fucking aggravating if you don't put a stop to their hooty face shenanigans as soon as they spawn. They're like twice the size of you as well, bring them perilously close to the physical appearance and strength of the owl bear, which, as I've mentioned in past videos, I am absolutely terrified of. Maybe you thought I was joking. Oh, that Fraggus japing around? No. Please send anti-owlbear spray or wards or charms. Don't let them get me. Those annoying pink bastards are called gremlins in this Japanese version of the game, but I guess Warner Brothers had a copyright stranglehold on that out here in the West because they're internationally known as ghoul rabbits. If you want your own ghoul rabbit, it's quite simple to achieve. Simply paint the seal of the leper god upon the top of your own rabbit's hutch, saith the dread incantation when the moon hath fled behind the darkest cloud, and feed it a big bowl of monk dicks. Come back in the morning and hey presto! You'll have lost 3 weeks and the police will want to talk to you about the hollowed out corpses of your neighbours lying strewn about your driveway. Now you can duck out of stage 3 early right there if you want to take the underground route to the murky marsh of morbid morons. That is the actual name of the stage, I'm not making that up. The murky marsh of morbid morons. Say that 3 times fast. But we're continuing on our overground route here. Plenty of time for all that subterranean nonsense on Thursday. Maybe that can be our next new regular show. Subterranean Nonsense Day. It'll just be 2.5 years of me screaming abuse at Dig Dug. Look at these stupid jellyfish. This ain't the sea, you dumb Sidarians. This feels wrong. This feels like I'm carving my way through some sort of jellyfish maternity ward. I feel absolutely awful about having to do that. Ain't easy being fraggers some days, lovelies. See, he's ready. He wants it. Fight me, motherfucker! I've always found that hilarious. Like when you enter a screen, not just in this game, but I guess, you know, in a lot of games, and you're on a different floor to the enemies so they can't physically see you, but they're still down there, jumping around, thrashing their whips or their axes or their clubs all over the place. Fuck! Fuck all of you! Ugh! I'll fight anything, even nothing at all. Especially the ones with guns that just stand there machine gunning thin air over and over. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da! Fuck everyone that isn't me! Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da! Where do you find these lunatics? You gotta imagine that Dracula's roster was way, way bigger before all the accidental friendly fire deaths. Oh, this game is insane. Jellyfish in the sky, spiders that fire smaller spiders. Essentially, those spiders are so fucking ready to kill you that they will throw their own damn children at your head. Here's your boss, Cyclops with a mallet. First appearance of the series for the Cyclops right here. Sure you don't need me to tell you where his weak point is. He can't touch you once you hop up onto the ledge right there. In fact, completely the opposite. He runs away the minute you land on it, so the only fiddly part of this is luring him within range. And if you got the cross, you can abuse him to death in about 5 seconds flat, but yeah, another ridiculously easy boss fight goes down in flames right there. And we're about to recruit one of these statues in the background to fight for us in just a moment, but can you guess which one? Oh no, only one of them's got fucking arms, hasn't it? Never mind, what an idiot. Did you guess the one with arms? A winner is you. Thanks for helping me, I'm Sypha the Vampire Hunter. I will follow you if you need my help. Now take note of Sypha's pronoun here, you're in for a true shot come the ending. I hope a magic spirit will give us the power. Crew shake! Welcome aboard. But of course that means Grant will be leaving us as you can only have one follower at a time in this game. The frustrations of being popular across all cliques, that is. Your friends just don't get on with each other. Vampire hunters will not cozy up to dwarf acrobat pirates. I don't know why we all can't just get along here. There's a Dracula situation, and we're all playing silly bastards with petty animosities. Grant's pissed at me, I can tell. Especially because we're here, in stage 4, on the haunted ship of fools. Again, real stage title. And this is really his natural environment, isn't it? This is Grant's jam. We've just sent him back home. It's like taking your kids to Disney World, getting right up to the main gates, and then banking a hard right to the dentist. Disney World? I never said Disney World. Clean the shit out your ears, boy. It's worth noting, if you do want Grant throughout the game, or this applies to any of the companion characters that you pick up, you can't just switch them back when you're bored. Once you've made your decision, told them to pack their shit, that's it. You can't have them back. Fine, brah. Go be cozy fucking asshole buddies with your new vampire hunter friend. Ooh, friend. Vampire hunter friend. Ooh, friend. Friend. Go suck each other's dicks. And you see, Grant thinks he's hurting me with homophobic slurs there. But for one, he has clearly overestimated the irony with which Trevor wears his leather hot pants, kinky boots and vest combo. And for another, Sypha is actually a woman of the female-y XX chromosome persuasion. I mean, that's supposed to be a complete shock to you when it's revealed in the ending. I always just assumed from the get-go that she was a woman, that they made a translation fuck up on the screen while you're recruiting her, but I'm sure they got some 10-year-old kid shrieking with disgust at the idea that they'd been playing as a girl for half the damn game. What? No way! Mom! This game you bought me is for girls! You bought me a girls game, Mom! And really, once you get the full whack of her, you probably will be playing Sypha for half the damn game, because she is so outlandishly powerful that she breaks it like Bane breaks emotionally disturbed orphans that identify as nocturnal vermin. And the reason for that is the sub-weapon that we're rocking here, the lightning spell, which as you can see costs just 1 heart to use and absolutely fucking devastates anything on screen. Absolutely anything. It chews up bosses like it's a waste of their goddamn time even bothering to spawn. She does have other spells, like there's the fire spell that you saw, which works like a wrist-mounted flamethrower. There's an ice spell that's crazy fucking powerful, freezing all the enemies into blocks of ice, and then all you gotta do is jump up and smash them with your knife in one hit. And that applies to the blood skeletons too, who are normally indestructible. But this lightning orb is a legitimate weapon of mass destruction. I mean, I'm gonna see this level out with her like I said I would, but you can see what I'm saying when I tell you that while having these side characters is awesome, and because they are so dramatically different and not just half-assed reskins or sprite swaps like a lot of alternate characters are in these games, it really gives you the chance to play Dracula's Curse in an entirely new way each time, but they just make it too damn easy. I mean look, here comes the Medusa boss right here. And there is pitifully little that she can do against you except fire her own terrified snakes at the ceiling in an attempt to crush herself with it, and end this quickly and mercifully, instead of being electrocuted to fucking death. You might note that Medusa has boobs there too. Oh yeah, it's not just statues that have got bonus tits in the Japanese version. They'll slap them on anything they can get away with. Now, it's worth mentioning while we're on the subject of the version differences that there was some tweaking made to the US and European releases that nerfed these companion characters somewhat. And I do mean somewhat. Like, Grant's throwing dagger attack cost you a single heart to use. I mean, that's about it for him. And Sypha's magic I think costs more than 1 measly heart to use, but it's definitely no dramatic level of rebalancing that they've replaced it with. I mean, you only need to cast it a couple of times, and the orbs stay on screen forever, just smashing everything into shit dust. And that's why I prefer to just stick with Trevor. You know, a bit of a challenge. In fact, I don't know if any of you die-hard Castlevania fans have noticed here, but I've been a bit naughty to give myself an extra little obstacle just because I know this game backwards. I've actually set the speed on the emulator to be 10% faster. Not enough to make a completely ridiculous spectacle out of the experience, I still want you all to be able to take the game in as we go, but just enough to give it a little kick, which we should fully see the benefits of a bit later on. It's what you do when you live the life of a hardcore gaming superstar. Beat ghosts and goblins with a no-death run. That's so 2016, that's so last year. I'm gonna crank that motherfucker up to 300% velocity and make it dance like a monkey in a microwave. Seriously though, I might be speaking to a select audience here, but one of my personal gaming hobbies, hobby within a hobby, if you will, is constantly trying to improve my retro gaming technique in terms of things like reaction speed and pattern recognition. Boss time again, and you get 2 for the price of 1 right here. Bargain flash sale on the HMS Bloodsucker. The disembodied soul floating around can't be hurt, just pops open the coffins for you. I'm gonna walk back into Trevor now. I think I've shown you that Sypha is the in-game equivalent of not just going into a knife fight with a shotgun, but also travelling to said knife fight from directly above it, straddling a fucking hydrogen bomb, so let's just play it properly now, eh? This is pretty much the exact same fight with the Cyclops we've just had in the Mad Forest, and the bosses do get recycled quite a bit depending on what different routes you take. Shows up again once you get to stage 7, so even if you don't take the ship route, you still have to fight it at least twice. Down you go, Blinky. There we are. You get all the Cyclops you could ever need in this game, and then he disappears until Rondo of Blood. You can't even fight him there. Just stays in the background, chucking boulders about like a big girl. You saw in that encounter there another of Dracula's faults. His tights with his vampire treasure. Surely you'd at least give two mummies a coffin each. Surely you'd want them at their fighting best. Can't do them any favours being cramped up in there on top of each other. Come on, Dracula. You don't want them to start fucking union up, do you? Okay, ladies. Stage 5. Welcome to the Curse Tower. You want to curse? You came to the right fucking place. We got death curses, god curses, generational curses, curses of inheritance, curses of sowing and reaping, blood curses, unforgiveness curses, accursed curses, that's a curse within a curse, curses of the accursed, that's a curse outside a curse. We got... What? Oh, you want a purse? Oh, you want... No. You want the purse tower for that. We don't have any purses. We have purse curses. Is that any good to you? Curse your purse? No? How about hearse curse? 50% off. Hearse curses this week. You want to fuck up somebody's funeral? Maybe the hearse driver freaks out and drives the damn thing into the grave hole? No? I'll curse you! I'll just get in, just a little curse humour for you there. Once again, welcome to the Curse Tower. Only one word of its name is truly indicative of the kind of terrain you'll be facing here. And let me tell you, it ain't curse. A more accurate brand would probably be Tower of Stairs. Mostly because of all the fucking stairs and stair-orientated combat, which has never really been Castlevania's shining accomplishment or finest hour. Your old pals the Axe Knights are here to cheer you on. And those of you that have been following Retro Rumble from its first episode might remember that one of these bastards ruined my no-hit run in the second to last level. That has earned them a lifetime spot on the Fragnostic's official Pamphlet of Grudges. It's like the Dwarven Book of Grudges, except, you know, it's just a leaflet. Because I'm a pretty chill guy, and it takes a lot to really piss me off. These things are called Balls of Destruction. Sorry. In the space of about 2 seconds there, I created a character for a fighting game in my head, and he has absolutely no martial arts training or experience, but he does have a grotesque case of testicular giganticism. He's completely docile until you hit him, and then he tears off his pants and screams, "Balls of Destruction!" and breaks every bone in your fucking body with a sledgehammer blow from his monstrous beanbag. Can you guess what you mustn't do right here? This is no room to take a nap in. The bottom of the screen just devours reality as it goes, so don't get trapped down there. At least I think that's what's happening. I have no other idea why a panning camera would kill you. What will catch you out if you're not careful is going too far up these steps before the knights have spawned on screen, because they will teleport in right on top of you. Go away, knife. Go away. Nobody likes you. One of the things about Castlevania 3 that's kind of unique to the series so far is that it draws from real world history in its settings and plot. Now, you might already know that Bram Stoker based the character of Count Dracula on the accounts he'd read of Vlad the Impaler, real name Vlad Tepes, and all the terrible things he'd done to people. Here, Dracula is still just called Dracula, but your third and final companion is Alucard, Dracula's half-vampire bastard son, whose real name is given as Adrian Tepes. Adrian. Adrian, I told you, 1 time, 2 times, 50 times. Hang your cape up when you're not wearing it. I told you my name's not Adrian anymore, Dad. It's Alucard. You can be Alucard to your loser friends while you're smoking pot in the mad forest, but under my battlements you are Adrian, and you will hang your bloody cape up. Likewise, Grant's second name is given as Danasty, but in the original translation it comes out closer to Danasty, the family name of one of 2 viciously opposed lineages of the House of Basarab, who fought between themselves for control of a region of Romania called Wallachia, which I'm guessing is where this entire game is supposed to be set, seeing as the very first stage is called Wallachian Village. Now, the second of the 2 families to spring from the Basarab bloodline were called the Dracul, who claimed among their members Vlad Tepes. Confused? Prepare not to be. Widely misunderstood is that Vlad Tepes is just the Romanian translation of his nickname. Tepes is Romanian for impaler, so Vlad's real name was Vlad Dracula, after his father, Vlad Dracul. Dracul meaning devil or dragon, and the little a on the end, nothing more than a suffix to indicate that he was the son of Dracul. Stage 6 brings us to the Moat Bridge of Peril. Nice, short and easy stage to ferry us off to the castle perimeter here. So yeah, the game does have quite an interesting historical undercurrent running through the various translations of it. I mean, it did chuck up some incredibly strange translations in the manual that I've never quite gotten over. You remember the famous wall hams? You smash a wall, you find a ham, you eat the ham is good, get your health back. In the Castlevania 3 manual, they're called werewolf legs. Werewolf legs. I mean, it was weird when you were just pulling roast hams out of a damn wall, but now they're fucking werewolves. You get your health back by eating dead werewolves. That's not right, is it? That's not on. No wonder Trevor's family got thrown out of town. The villagers probably freaked the fuck out when they saw his dad dragging the werewolf that had been terrorizing them for weeks back. Oh hurrah! Mr. Belmont has slain the foul hellbeast. A feast for Mr. Belmont, a feast I say. And he goes, no needs, I've already eaten. And slowly, their eyes fall down to where the werewolf's balls used to be. And they follow the trail of stringy viscera up to Grandad Belmont's chin just in time to see a stray dangling testicle get slurped into his mouth. Fucking dead Moorish these are. Out! Get them the fuck out! But then you probably shouldn't take anything from the Western manuals too seriously. It lists Sypha's lightning magic as goodness gracious great bolts of lightning. That's what the spell is called. That's what she screams whenever she casts it. See, they think they're being funny, but all they're really doing is creating fucking continuity problems for themselves. This is another stage just custom made for Sypha to wreak havoc in. That water trap we passed through in the last screen with the currents and the fishmen, don't even worry about it. If you grab Sypha's ice magic, which you will because it's right there in the damn river, you can just freeze the water to stop it from flowing and walk over the top of it. I mean, what? What was she meant to be? Was she a character the developers made so they could just playtest the levels without having to really kill anything properly, and they forgot to take her out or nerf her? Wait until we get to Alucard, goddammit, he turns into a bat. You don't even have to press the fucking attack button anymore once you get Alucard. You just fly over everything. I don't know why they didn't just pop one extra character in here, like, I don't know, a fucking intergalactic rainbow mermaid, and a special attack gives you 5 hearts and spawns an active landmine inside every enemy in the game. There you go, now you can walk around in peace. That's what you wanted, wasn't it? Alright, couple of nasty bastard water dragons to fend off now. It's a solid idea to focus on getting one of them out of your way as soon as you can here, because after a couple of rounds of popping in and out of the drink, they'll surround you on the central platform and make you suffer. And once you've done that, you can just plink away at the other one with your axe from the far end of the ledge where its fire can't touch you. Later, Tater. Alrighty, that'll do for part 1, I think. Shimmy on back this way on Thursday, lovelies. We got ourselves another 8 levels to smash through, including that all-important showdown with the first Dracula in any Castlevania to pose any sort of serious challenge. Only took him 6 fucking games.
Prehistoric bitch, how we do things downtown.